Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guests from Upper St. Clair High School for the last 23 years, the head football coach at the University of Iowa, Kirk Ferentz. Coach, thanks for joining us. When you hear that, you are the longest tenured FBS coach in the country. What comes to your mind?
Yeah, it's probably a sad commentary on this profession, and I'm not sure anybody's going to last that long anymore. It's unfortunately, even last year is a good example. There were a couple of guys that got fired in September, college coaches. So I think a lot of the pro game trickles down to college. It's always been that way, but on one hand, it's unfortunate. On the other hand, I always draw a parallel. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, and I tell people I always thought the Steelers had a pretty simple secret for success: the stability and consistency they had. And we've been really fortunate at Iowa. We've had two head coaches now the last 43 years. Coach Fry was here for 20. He hired me when I was a young guy back in 1981. And then the other component, I think, which is really critical here, we've only had three athletic directors since 1970. A gentleman named Bump Elliott, who's probably in about 15 Hall of Fames. He was a great player at Michigan and was a coach, also a tremendous athletic director. I think he really kind of set the bar for Iowa athletics back during his time in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So when I came here in 81, there was a really great culture, a word that really gets overused now, but we had that in the 80s. And I think it's that's part of his legacy, is just what he established as an athletic director during his tenure.
Well, you see your connection to Western Pennsylvania. First of all, those uniforms, you're the Steelers look is there. I don't think that's by accident, is it, Coach?
No, it's a great story, and could never happen to Dad. I joke about this, but Coach Fry, when he came here, Iowa had good teams in the 20s. They had a great team in 1939, now Kinnick and the Ironmen. And then they in the 50s under Evashevsky were really good, but there was is our play-by-play guy, Jim Zabel, who was like the Bob Prince of Iowa. Jim Zabel said, hell, it was only 2 bad decades, but 60s and 70s weren't so good. So when Coach Fry got here, the one thing I remember reading in Sports Illustrated, not knowing who Hayden Fry was, but I remember reading Sports Illustrated, they said it. He said, we're going to look like champions when we break the huddle. What happens after that, I don't know, but we're going to look like champions. He actually reached out to the Steelers and asked for permission to copy the uniforms, and they went a step ahead and actually mailed him an authentic uniform. It's rumored to be Bradshaw's, but it was an authentic Steeler uniform. And they told him, go ahead and do with it what you like. So Iowa copied it to the T outside of the helmet decal. And I laugh about it now because, 40 some years later, I don't know how many lawyers would have had to been involved to get that done. But it was just a simple phone call. They mailed a package, and that was it.
Great story. And Coach, let's go back to your roots here in Western Pennsylvania. You play at Upper St. Clair for legendary coach Joe Moore, one of the best college offensive line coaches in the country, along with the great Dan Radakovich. All the stuff I learned about coaching the offensive line through Coach Bernardi came from Joe Moore and Dan Radakovich. What have you taken from playing for Coach Moore that's been steady for you during your coaching career?
You often think about how things happen in life, and you mentioned, being here 23 years. That was never the plan. I was just trying to get to the next day, the next week. So, you think about how lucky we are to be in football and grow up in that part of the country, because there were so many great football people that came out of Western Pennsylvania. And to that point, I played for 2 really good high school coaches. Bill Merritt was my first high school coach. He and Fred Wickstrom, who's Bill's top assistant, they were the guys in 10th grade. They just had a real positive impact on me. I was able to move up to the varsity, and they really inspired me. And it was in 10th grade when I decided I want to be a teacher and a coach. I made up my mind then. I was devastated. Our school board let Bill Merritt go after a 5-3-1 season. We just moved up to the Western Conference, which at that time was a premier conference. I went 5-3-1, and really were pretty competitive considering the upward ascension of the team. But anyway, school board member didn't like him. They let Bill go, and I was really devastated. I wanted to leave Upper St. Clair. My parents talked him to go into Chartiers Valley, all that stuff. And then Joe Moore came. They got hired. And little did I know that was going to change my life even more. So stuck it out and played for Coach Moore. That was an unbelievable year. And then, went back and visited him every opportunity I had when I was in college. And I taught school for a couple of years. And then when Joe became the line coach at Pitt in 1980, I was able to join him. He made me his grad assistant. Became the line coach. He got together with Dan Radakovich, and a lot of the drills we were doing at Upper St. Clair out in the blacktop, he was doing them at Pitt. And, Dan gave him a little bit more education, and the rest is kind of history. But yeah, Coach Moore has really been outside of my family, everything in my life. That year I was in Pittsburgh, 1980, it was a great year on the football field, but I got to pretty much live with him almost 24 hours a day, other than sleeping hours. I'd pick him up and take him home at night, and the rest of the time we were together. Not sure my marriage would have survived another year, but boy, what an opportunity to learn as a football coach. And Joe's he's just one of a kind. There's never going to be a duplicate of him, that's for sure.
But Coach, your team showed that toughness. You're always strong up front. Your offensive line, your defense is solid. You had the 17th ranked defense in the country last year, only giving up 19 points. In this day and age of offenses, that's tremendous. I know this year you have 16 starters back, 8 on offense, 8 on defense. Your quarterback, 4 of your top 5 receivers back. I know your running game last year wasn't where you wanted it to be, only 123 yards a game. How have you addressed that in the offseason?
Yeah, I think our biggest challenges last year, Ed, were just up front, both sides of the ball going in. We knew that. If you gave me truth serum, I'm not sure 10 games, 10 wins was in the cards in August, but really proud of the way those guys worked on both sides of the ball. And I thought we made improvement. Defense came along a little faster than the offense. But the month of November, I thought our offensive line started to look like more like what we hoped it would be, or hope it would be in any season. And, it's kind of ironic now. And in the bowl game, I thought they played well. It's ironic. We lost the best center in the country. Tyler Linderbaum's now a Baltimore Raven. We lost him, but we got a bunch of other guys back. So, if I had a trade, I'd go with this trade. Overall, our line's going to be much, much better, even though we're losing one of the country's best players last year. But I feel good about our guys up front. And, I think we'll have a chance to be a good team. But going back to your first point about the defense, kind of you asked about the impact of Coach Moore. First of all, he was a defensive coach, even though he's a great line coach. He's a defensive-minded guy. He was in high school. Certainly always looked at the game that way. I learned the value of the fundamentals from him. That's all he cared about. And everybody talks about him, but he focused on him, as did Dan Radakovich. And then again, growing up as a Steeler fan, you can't, as a kid, even if you're dumb, you figure out like these guys are, it all started with defense with the Steelers, and boy, they'd hit you. They made you block them. And that's what we try to do, is just make people block us. And hopefully we'll be a good tackling team and not let them throw the ball over our head. The simple, basic things. It's kind of where successful football starts. I don't think it ever changes. And it's pretty much true in every sport. You got to protect the ball, play good defense. And then if you're good up front on both sides, you got a chance, I think.
Hey, Coach, in our final couple minutes here, when I ask you about all the changes that are going on in college football, names, image, and likeness, 3,000 players in the transfer portal, and then the shock wave last week with USC and UCLA joining the Big Ten. Give me your thoughts on all of this going on in the final minute here.
Yeah, it's crazy. The transfer portal started with that one. I think I heard a stat. It's like 60% of the kids that went in ended up going in with scholarships, ended up without them. So, it sounded like a great idea. And I know that there's a lot of legalistic stuff to this thing, but it just ended up not being a great thing for our players, unfortunately. NIL expansion, I think it just all is a sign that, college football is really changing. I do sound like the old guy in the room. I am concerned about the future, just because I've heard people say the money's not sustainable. I'm not sure with these TV contracts. I'm not sure that's accurate, but what is not sustainable right now is doing something without structure and boundary. And you look at the NFL, for what I know, it's the best pro sports organization or pro sports league. They have a salary cap. They've got really, reasonable restrictions and structure. We don't have that in college football right now. It's just kind of free reign. And University of Pittsburgh, unfortunately, was a casualty in this whole thing, losing one of their best players, a guy that grew up and developed in the program, got plucked out. So yeah. It's a real challenge for us right now. To just hope we can figure it out here in the next couple of years.
Hey, Coach, I want to thank you for joining us. You're 190 career wins, just 10 away from that great level of 200 wins to put you in another category, 10-4 last year, 35-13 the last 4 years. You got this program running. You're going strong, headed into your 24th year. Thanks for joining us, and have a great year this year.
A pleasure being with you, Ed. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. I'll be right back with Ellen George.
From high school sports to community events and beyond, you can find all of your favorite local shows on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Hi, I'm Tricia from the Butler Buzz. You can watch my show or other local programming like Up for Adoption or Hunting Nostalgia, only on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Check us out right now on Channel 100, or search Armstrong Neighborhood Channel on YouTube for playlists and much more. Spirit, town pride, community. This is the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
I am back, joined to my right by the Swami George Abraham, to my left the Tiger Albert Campman. Nice to have Kirk Ferentz on, the longest tenured coach, FBS in the country, 23 years at Iowa. And I know it's a source of pride for him. He's 9-8 versus Penn State and 3-1 versus Pitt.
Never forget where you start, huh?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh area.
And his legendary coach, Joe Moore, he played for and influenced him and what he's doing. And his teams.
Especially his O-line. That's all you ever hear about with Ferentz. They always come back to the O-line.
And his defense was 17th ranked in the country
last year. You know who calls his plays?
His son. Yeah. Let's go to Spotlight Honor. Slippery Rock University baseball coach Jeff Messer named to the American Baseball Coaches Association 2023 Hall of Fame class. His record at the Rock, 36 years. He's 1,072 and 696 and 2 state championships. Great career, one of the best college coaches in the country.
Absolutely.
Could have left years ago and gone a lot of different places.
Never big times anybody either.
No.
With that kind of record,
yeah.
You know, that kind of record, you could your ego could get out of control.
Yeah.
More coaches might follow him. You go to the Hall of Fame for what you do, what you not, but not what you say.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Amen.
Slippery Rock University track and field star Jenna Reinheimer. She's a Butler grad, hammer and discus throw. She was named Academic All-American. The Butler grad earned her degree in finance at the Rock with a 4.0 graduate point average. And in harness racing, Slippery Rock's Brady Big Bucks Brown, he won 3 races at the Meadows, brought home $16,500 in prize money. Every week we talk about that.
I tell you, I love how he rides.
And Lernerville Speedway, Kyle Larson of Elk Grove, California. He won the Don Martin Memorial Silver Cup and picked up a $25,000 check. That's how big Lernerville is.
Yeah,
we told you about
that's
it
big
before.
time. Big time.
Let's go to our stories of the week, and we start off on a sad note, the passing of Slippery Rock University women's basketball coach Bobby McCraw at the age of 49, unexpectedly and suddenly over the weekend. 8 years the head coach. Bobby played at Clarion University, went on to the U.S. Marine Corps, became a state trooper. This is a real shocker. Our condolences to his family and the Slippery Rock University community.
Lost a good guy there, buddy.
Yes. Always would talk to him when I watch football practice.
Great guy.
Yes.
Great.
Learning experience, well, 3 old-timers here, we know that.
Yeah.
You wake up the next day, you better enjoy that day because there's no guarantee you're waking up the next day.
I mean,
I got that text. My hand, hey, I'm telling you, my hand shook.
Yeah, I know.
I got the text.
And it was almost 5 years to the day you had your open heart surgery.
Well, was that? Yeah, because it was exactly.
Very close, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I'd go up to football practice. I always do. He'd come over right away, and we'd talk sports and stuff. Just a great guy.
I remember when he first started, he was KR's assistant, and he had to learn all that stuff. They'd have those 1-hour practices in the middle of the afternoon, and I said, hey, what? He goes, a lot to learn, he goes.
And not everything appears as it looks, huh?
No, but he was a good guy. Jeez.
Yep, sad. Major League Baseball, congratulations to Pirate relief pitcher David Bull Bednar, named to the National League All-Star team. Bednar with 15 saves. That was just perfect last week. He was our guest Tuesday morning. That night he got the save against the Yankees and struck out Aaron Judge to end the game.
Yeah, what a year he's had. I'm seeing him on commercials now. I'm seeing all kinds of things that's happening to him. And about August, he'll be playing for Seattle.
He's playing for the Yankees, maybe.
He'll be looking over, and all of a sudden it'll be Judge on first.
And the Pirates debuted their new reliever they got from the Yankees. And before the game, he was saying how thankful he was for the Yankees giving him a start. Then the Yankees hit 4 home runs. So much for thank you.
No,
It's
that's
the major leagues.
Yeah.
That's why it's the major leagues. You better be ready for it.
no. And like I said, it's the talent difference. Come on.
Hey, the Pirates split with the Yanks 5-2 that Tuesday. I was there. It was a great atmosphere. Sold out 37,000. A lot of Yankee, maybe 10 to 15,000 Yankee fans. Talked to some of them. Really nice. They were excited to be there.
You know why they're nice right now, don't you?
Yeah,
They're 60 and 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm nice.
I'd be
too,
nice
but-
too when I won every game.
You know, I've seen Aaron Judge on TV, but seeing him in person, this guy's a monster.
Yes, he
6'7", 280. And how the Pirates won that game, here's the lineup they put out there. 190 hitter, 193, 162, 205, and sent up a 194 pinch hitter. Albert, I hope I'm wrong. You say in 3 years they're going to be good. I'm not seeing the wow factor there like I watched the Yankees and the Red Sox over the weekend with Judge and Stanton, Bogarts and Duran and
Devers isn't playing.
Devers too. I'm not seeing that. And the Pirates' everyday catcher is a 152 hitter. So I'm hoping
He won't be the catcher.
No,
He won't be the
Davis.
catcher.
Yeah, yeah.
No, Davis,
Davis will be.
Davis will
But
be
I'm just saying.
all-star.
And they've won 5 out of their last 8, pretty much with the same lineup of 4 guys, 200 or less batting average in a lineup.
The Yankees have the same averages. You understand that? No one cares about
Yeah.
batting average. We do.
Yeah.
But no one cares. I mean, they all hit 220, 230, 240.
It's like
but
the kids for the Pirates. You know, the young
Cruz kid. Yeah, I know.
The guy goes, I don't care if he is 230.
No one cares one bit about it.
We do.
I do. I don't know.
I know.
I don't say how you're a good player. And let me say this about Hayes. He struggled. He struck out over 70 times. Reynolds, I was shocked to find out he struck out
all
almost
do.
80 times.
They all do.
I mean, that's okay to me if you're hitting 30 or 35 homers.
He's got Reynolds in the IL.
Is he?
Yeah.
With his back.
Oblique.
League. And, you know, the days of Dave Kingman, when he bat 240, he got ridiculed, but he hit 42 homers or drove in 115
Right.
and hit 240.
That's everybody's doing that these days. That's not changed. That's not
They're
going
all in
back.
the knob, Eddie. They're
That's
all,
not going
they're
back.
all over the knob.
And here's something driving me crazy, what I call baseball crap. I'm watching a 16-0 game on TV. The Yanks have the bases loaded. The Pirate pitching coach comes out. I don't even know his name. He's surrounded by players. He's talking like this. Now, what? Who's spying on him? CIA? KG?
another
What could
new
he
thing.
be telling them that the Yankees don't know? We're going for a double play. Move up first and
How
third.
about throwing a strike? I can have a date at 11.
What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, right.
What
yeah.
is this?
I know.
I've never really noticed that before.
I have. I've
Yeah,
seen it forever.
I-
Yes.
You ever see that years ago? Never.
No, that's
Come on,
Shortstop, second base has done it forever. He's covered.
Oh my God!
Right, Al?
And
They've
and,
done it forever.
and here's the other thing. No more do I hear. It was a tape measure shot. Home run velocity, 114 miles. That ball.
No,
only-
every hit is
it
every hit is measured.
it only-
Every hit.
That ball only left the park at 83 miles an hour. It
Yeah.
took forever to get out. These are the analytic guys bringing all this in.
Wait a minute. There's a basketball league next year using analytics to seed their tournament.
Oh,
They're not
mercy.
going by record because
Mercy.
they don't play each other all the same.
I'm taking
I-
a deep breath so I don't fall out of the chair.
I know we're old school, and now the latest thing, the analytics and starting pitching. 6 innings is enough. Nothing good happens to a starter after 6 innings, but there are those in Major League Baseball want to limit the pitching staffs to 11, not 13, so the starters can pitch more. And a lot of the starters do want to pitch more.
That'll never happen. You know that. That will never.
You know, they're
happen.
10 pitches down per pitcher per this year now.
10 down.
They're 10 down. They used to be, I think, 93 and it's 83 or 83 and it's 73. Third time through.
And it's going down again.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going down again.
Hey,
I'll tell you why it's going down again. Because the starters can't throw strikes. You understand? There's every game, because I follow every game. 30 pitches in the first inning, 27 pitches in the first
you know,
inning.
And they're putting the
You're-
pitching
you're
counts up.
done before you get to the fourth inning.
The Pirates, that's one thing they have to clean up. You look in the second inning, the guy's on 44
That's what I'm
pitches.
saying.
Well, you know he can't go 6.
And the announcers have fallen into it. They go, 3 innings, he's thrown
Oh, no.
70
They've been
pitches, he's
taught.
almost
They've
done.
been trained for that.
What's on the board now, Eddie?
Hey,
on the
how
board.
about this date, Major League Baseball history, July 10th, 1902. Rube
Go
Waddell
Warren. Oh.
from Prospect.
Is that where he's from?
Prospect. He went 17 innings and won 4-2 for
The
Philadelphia.
Pirates, there must have been some anniversary the other day. They were talking about Vernon Law. He went 18 innings. Brock Friend pitched in 19th and got the win. He said he was salty for months.
Yeah.
18 innings.
My guess
he
his
pitched.
friend probably pitched the day before the game.
Oh, no.
That's my guess.
No, I saw one the other day.
jeez.
Some guy completed the game, and I said, and his arm didn't fall off.
And I'll say this, and I'll say it again, for the people who watch and think I'm nuts. If the relievers were great, I'd bring them in every game too. I see the relief pitchers that come in. They stink. Baltimore happens to have good relievers. Why?
Hey, the
That's why
Orioles
they're
have won
winning.
8 in a
But
row.
that's why they're winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there are other teams that are losing. They keep thinking bringing relievers in too and getting killed. Not all teams have great relievers.
I see the same. They bring a reliever in. He has an ERA of 6.
Oh, I know, but they'll still bring him in because he's fresh.
The only thing, of all the stats to look at for a reliever, ERA is not fair.
No, that's not the one you look at,
because,
no.
if they give up a run, they have to get 17 outs.
Yeah, one bad inning. Like
Yeah.
Bednar had that one bad thing. He exploded.
The game's upside down for me when the analytic guys don't want the pitcher starters to go more than 6.
No.
RBIs don't matter anymore.
No,
I have no idea how RBIs
And,
don't
and we've
matter.
been taught, too, we have a buddy who's an NFL strength coach. Muscles, use them. By pitching 5 innings, are you not doing the opposite?
Well, that's why they're injured.
Yeah.
Because in the minor leagues,
they're not training.
they're not allowed to go more than 4 or 5 innings. You
Well,
understand? That's what it works.
How does a Mauler run him out?
I know. He runs.
Exactly. He doesn't
Yeah,
practice
okay.
running 30 yards.
Yeah, but the
Maybe one
analytics
do it.
get a hold and tell me you only have to run 100 feet and you're okay.
It's definitely changing as we speak. A lot of people now are speaking out. I guess they're running these young kids into the ground in these youth tournaments and travel ball and all.
They'll be taken care of too. But most of the people younger than us, Eddie, truly believe in it.
Yeah.
That's you understand. They'll sit and argue with us
Yeah.
all day, and they'll have good arguments. I won't say they're dummies. I just don't believe.
I
in
don't
it.
like it.
Yeah, I don't believe in it. That's all.
Hey, the NFL, what's in a name? Heinz Field is out of ketchup. What's Heinz Field been a company in Pittsburgh for 150 years?
It's been.
How you pronounce that guy's that name, by the way? Analuku or what?
Yeah, it's insurance.
Or is it an insurance company? Is that who
Yeah,
it is?
yeah. It's
Michigan
Acrashore.
Insurance.
Acrashore. Now,
Oh my goodness.
now Art Rooney
gracious.
said this is a good deal for the fans. How are the fans benefiting? Are you
He just made
benefiting?
that up. He made that up so much.
From
One
this?
person benefiting.
Yes.
Like Rocky Blyer
Rooney
yesterday
is.
goes, why is it a Rooney Field? I said, because they're charging this team to be
A big
30,
factor,
talking
sure.
about $35 million a year. Now, Permane brothers offered him a deal, but the Steelers wouldn't bite on it.
They wanted
Wasn't
more
enough.
fraud. They wanted more fraud.
Not enough money on that
Iron
sandwich.
City offered him a deal. Heinz couldn't match what they wanted.
Not enough money on that
Listen, I don't want
sandwich.
the Rooney's. It's bottom line. If Pumpernickel Bread had offered them more money, they'd have called it
no.
Pumpernickel Park.
Whatever
I
call
just
it.
wish one of those strip clubs offered them money and they had to turn it down. That would have been. Now you would have seen something.
You know what
Boy,
Steeler
I
fans,
love that.
You know what Steeler fans
I
would
would love
say.
it.
Yeah.
Not
Pink
Acrashore.
panties.
Yeah. The Steeler fans are not Acrashore. It's Acrimonious Stadium.
what's the name of that thing
They're
again?
not happy
What's
with
the-
it.
Sure. It's a
Acrashore.
So somebody's gonna be saying, "Where are you going?"
They're
today?"
a brokerage
I'm going.
firm.
I'm going to
But
Acrashore.
you know what?
I said,
though?
where are you going?
But wait a minute.
Acrashore.
No, wait. If that's named that in 2039,
It won't be.
they'll say the same thing. You know,
Well, that
this
won't be.
was Heinz Field for 20 years.
I need to ask him, how is that a good deal for the fans? Are we getting free insurance policies?
No, I don't think we're getting anything.
Have you ever been to Hartford? If you've been to Hartford, you understand the insurance business.
What Don Corleone say? It's not personal. It's business. That's what it is. It's business. So,
But please, Mr. Rooney or Mrs. Rooney, whoever it was, don't try to say those things. Don't make it. I know I'm a dummy.
We want the money.
Yes.
Get the best
Just
deal.
say we took the best deal. That's what we did. Not for
give
the
us the
fans.
money. Just give us the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, elsewhere, how about the Browns trade Baker Mayfield to Carolina? How about the season opener? I'm not going to miss this one. Browns at Carolina.
And the Browns are paying him.
They're paying him to
Paying
beat
him.
them.
beat Carolina. To beat Cleveland.
Think about that now. He's
That is
getting
funny.
$500 million a game.
This is a good move for him, right?
Great move.
Absolutely.
Great
He's
move.
not done. Hey, he's not done.
I think he's a good player.
He's 26 years old.
I think he's a good
27.
player.
I know.
He played last year, but he should have.
that was stupid.
He should have said, Browns should have shut him down and
was
said,
stupid.
have the surgery.
You know who should have
Broken
jumped
ribs,
in? I
torn
gotta
labrum.
say this. We got a best buddy that's an agent. His agent should have stepped in, said, Bake.
Oh, is that what he said?
Shut it down, Bake.
Absolutely.
Shut it down, Bake.
Hey, NFL Hall of Fame semifinalist coaches Mike Shanahan, 2 Super Bowls with Denver. He should have been in there before. Mike Holmgren, 2 Super Bowl appearances. He won 1 with Green Bay. He should be in there. And former Steelers scout Art Rooney Jr., who teamed with Bill Nunn to recruit all those black players from the historic black colleges, bringing in Donnie Shell, John Stallworth, L.C. Greenwood, Sam Davis. He's probably going to get in too.
I put Nunn in, but I wouldn't put Rooney Jr. in there. I think his name. I think it's a name thing. Nunn was the guy behind there. I think Nunn was behind everything.
Well, they say he worked with
read,
Bill Nunn.
Everything I've read.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. But he's associated with.
It's the Rooney name. If his name was Smith, or his name was Abraham,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there are 25 former players on the on this semifinals list that they'll get down to.
That's what's hard about it, because every year 5 good players keep coming,
And they don't make it.
and other people don't make it. And all of a sudden, these big names show up. And
Old-time Steeler coach Buddy Parker's on the list.
Buddy is.
And he won an NFL championship with the Lions.
Buddy.
You know, I think shouldn't be, and it's Cowher with 1. I think 2 should be the criteria.
Once again,
and I think
yeah,
Murtaugh,
they like him.
Murtaugh with 2
yeah.
should be in. We
Eddie
talked
loves
about
that one. Eddie loves that one.
And he had one losing season in all his years of managing.
I agree.
Let's go National Hockey League. We'll finish up here with the Pens. They signed Chris Letang, 35,
Yes!
6-year deal, $36 million.
favorite player ever.
That's a bargain. Will Malkin be next? You don't want him.
I don't want him back. I don't want Malkin.
Here's the thing.
I don't want Malkin.
Every time he plays, he averages 1 point a game. Here's why the Rangers are interested in him, and maybe the Caps, because he's one of the best power play players around.
Absolutely.
And that is not worth a lot of money. You understand? If you have to do more. If he wants a lot of money, you got to be.
He makes $9
You got to do everything.
Peg must remind me of somebody that has a dog that needs to be put down, but they just can't do it.
They can't do it.
And it's hard.
I know it's hard, but here's my thought on it. They are compensated, not Malkin, anybody. They're compensated so well. 8 figures.
Oh, yes.
When it's time to go,
It's time to go.
it's time to go.
They want him to finish as a Penguin because they know he's going to be
I like him to.
a Hall of Fame.
But he got to take a pay cut. I like him to.
One thing about Belichick, when he thinks a player's dipped a little, he doesn't have that sentimentality. Chuck Noll did. It was hard for Chuck Noll to bench L.C. Greenwood, Joe Green, and it hurt the Steelers.
There's one problem down in Pittsburgh. They don't want to make Sidney mad. That's the key thing.
No, I agree with you. Hey, finishing up Wimbledon, Novak Djokovic won his 4th straight men's title, his 21st major, moving him 1 behind Rafael Nadal, who had to step out because of abdominal injury. Yeah. Does this diminishes his win in Wimbledon?
No. What it does, any win in Wimbledon, excuse me. But there was 4 great players that weren't there. I will say that.
Yeah. And winning the women's first time, Elena Rybakina.
Don't get me started on that. She's Russian.
She's Russian. Get started. And there's a lot more stuff to come up about golf and the backflow against the Saudis. But we've run out of time. We will see you next week.
Armstrong is honored to commemorate the 5th anniversary of our Healing Heroes initiative. With your support, we've tripled our goal by raising $338,000, enabling us to provide 15 area veterans with service dogs. We continue to encourage veterans in need of this life-changing assistance to apply for a Guardian Angels medical service dog by visiting armstrongonewire.com/healingheroes and clicking Apply Now. Together, we can unleash the power to heal.